Holy crap, this title is so long that it's taking up so much of the screen down here that like I usually try to do one row judging by the cover. By the way, hello, welcome to Judging by the Cover. Happy June, happy Pride Month. I hope all of you are having a very productive Pride Month. So I'm looking at a game that came out last month, so just in time for Pride Month. Uh, uh, I had seen on a friend's Discord, somebody had recommended this on their under their free game section, and it is free on Steam. The developer seems to have, or the developer or some of the people behind this do seem to have some other small games behind them, free games, free demos. So Tofu Rocks, Runa Lior Winters, What Names, and Project Enso. Look them up on Steam. They have some other projects there that I have not looked at. I just saw that there are other things that exist there. But anyway, this title is giving anime titles a run for their money. Good lord, everyone at the reunion for my religious all girls school is a trans man and they're hot. The title is a mouthful. Now, obviously, this game is presenting itself with an air of humor, or well, if it's not coming with an air of humor, then it's definitely coming from somebody's religious trauma. But I feel like there's probably a degree of somebody's religious trauma that made its way into the themes and storytelling here. But they did it in a way that they are delivering something that's supposed to be lighthearted and humorous and a little jab at certain kinds of cultures. And quite frankly, I can appreciate that. Regardless of somebody's beliefs or identity, I mean, here you can look at my face and see, yeah, this guy is cisgender, straight white male. I'm about as generic as people come. But I appreciate a variety of things and seeing things from perspectives that I did not live, that I didn't experience personally. That's why one of the earlier games we looked at, the Tales of Kenzera, that was an interesting game, and I did actually buy that, and I've gotten a little bit into it. I need to go ahead and finish that game, by the way. But with this one, I'm looking at this. It's a little visual novel. You are playing as Irene, and you are a photographer for your high school reunion. But it turns out that a whole bunch of your classmates are from the all girls school are now trans men as adults. And I don't know how much of a romance interest is going into it here. The music is upbeat. The characters do seem to fall into the kind of what you would expect the tropes to be of those high school kids, and how those tropes have adapted from their high school lives. With the trailer does give us a little snippet of what they were like in high school and a little bit about their personality now, years later as adults, and how they've clearly grown from that. Even if they do have snippets of their high school like background, they do have their adult personalities that have developed since then. And whether it's the workaholic, the laid back metalhead, or the clearly sassy as fuck former cheerleader. And depending on how long this is, I might actually have to give this a look. I mean, for one, it's free. Being a free little thing here, you automatically get points for not giving for like that's automatic points for not charging for something that's like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to have a good time with this. If I go and try this out, it's free. I didn't lose any money for it. And who knows, maybe if it delivers something that I didn't expect that I enjoy, I may actually look into some of the other paid projects, some of the other demos that they have up. So, what do we have here? It has been 10 years since you graduated from private Christian all-girls high school. That's what kind of clues me in that maybe the developer or somebody on the crew, whoever was doing the writing, the storytelling, might have like some kind of a religious background that led them to a, oh my god, fuck this kind of attitude. And quite frankly, with some of the kinds of things that come up with people's upbringing in those circles, I don't blame them. And you decided to head to the unofficial reunion hosted by your old bestie. It's a weekend retreat at a fancy vineyard. You photograph happy couples at all the time. Okay, so it's something that you go here to photograph couples regularly, like you're a professional photographer, and now you are actually attending an event here. But when you get there, you're the only cis woman who was invited. And everyone you went to school with is a hot guy now. And that's what's telling me like this is clearly presented with an air of humor because I know that when it comes to the LGBTQ and like trans communities and stuff like that, it's not all about oh my gosh all these hot people. It's people existing. They're doing like a little bit of a fun riff on things here, and hopefully in a way that is not derogatory or cruel or mean spirited to the communities. That I'm going to trust that, and they do have other projects here from the community circle or from and about the community circles. Um, so I'm pretty confident that they're probably doing it in a very welcome atmosphere. Good Lord, everyone at the reunion for my religious all girls school is a trans man and they're hot. Or Trans Mask Reunion for short is a romantic Trans Mask Reunion for short is a romantic comedy otome game. Otome game, if I recall, that is where it is a female lead character and the romantic interests are male. So it's basically the dating sims made for a female audience, featuring a cast of all trans masculine love interests. Catch up with your old graduating class and maybe learn a thing or two about yourself about yourself in a hilarious weekend romp at a posh vineyard. What could possibly go wrong? And I find it funny they phrase it there because in the trailer they do have like little snippets of the characters' personalities and inner monologue from the protagonist. The inner monologue for Irene, the heroine of the story, did say, "I swear I'm a cisgender straight girl." Uh, but I'm an ally and I'm not questioning anything at all. And it's like that there's some tongue in cheek going on there. So it features three trans mask love interests, all happy endings. Okay. I appreciate that they're doing something like this as a lighthearted, probably a short story kind of telling, original OST, original character art, playable word count 30,000 plus. I don't have a frame. I don't play a lot of these kinds of games, so I don't have a frame of reference for like what kind of word count to expect. But 30,000 plus, that's a pretty good length as far as like novelization goes. So, and considering that this is all dialogue, not like if it's all dialogue stuff, like dialogue inner monologue kind of thing, it's different. And then Goose, the Goose thing threw me off at the very end of the trailer, and we'll see in one of the screenshots. There's just a split-second shot of a goose with a text box that says honk, and I'm like, what's with the goose? Why the goose? So the love interests, we're going to go ahead and read more. We have Elliot. Now they're giving us a lot of information here that is also in the trailers. Feel free to go ahead and check out the trailer. The music is simple but delightful, very upbeat, and kind of sets the tone for what they're going for here. So Elias de los Santos, the party host, pronouns he him. They give us the pronouns because in these circles it is customary to go about and respect the pronouns that they're going, and considering that these he is clearly presenting here, it's like, okay, hard to mistake that for anything else. Ethnicity, Filipino American, so they're also going for some racial diversity here. I can appreciate that. Occupation, wedding and events coordinator. He organized the high school reunion. He organized his own high school reunion, and he is the events coordinator. It's kind of funny that he's the coordinator, so he probably organized this himself, like completely pro bono, instead of hiring somebody to do it because that is his profession. And then on top of that, brings in a professional photographer who went to the school to photograph the event. So that's probably going to play into some funny scenarios here. Your high school bestie, a social media hound, and just about the only person you kept in touch with from high school all these years. He came out to you 9 years ago. Okay, so a year after high school. and has been the singular queer person you personally know, or at least that's what you thought. You're not sure if you've ever met anyone as simultaneously chill and stressed out as Elias is. Elias? Uh, If I'm butchering the pronunciation of any names, I deeply apologize. Go ahead and roast me in the comments about it. But hopefully he can relax this weekend. You know what? Fair. It's probably stressful organizing these kinds of things, especially considering that it's in Christian all girls school reunion. I would fully have expected like people showing up to this and being like, "Who are all these guys?" And then they realize, "Oh my gosh, you were that person, you were that former classmate. Wow, like where is life taking you?" Kind of thing. That typical high school reunion things dialed up to 11 because of this revelation that I'm sure some people going to the reunion might not have been up to speed on. Number two, we have Angel Devon, the withdrawn metalhead. And quite frankly, he definitely gives off that kind of vibe. He's got like the little wing tattoo here under his pectoral. African American occupation, farming co-op organizer. So that's cool. So kind of giving off a little bit of a laid back hippie vibe, but with the metalhead motif. That's kind of a cool blend there. Voted most likely to be possessed by demons by the class, Angel, most likely to be possessed by demons. Although I wonder if Angel was his original name that he kept, or if that was his chosen name after the fact. Um, I don't know how many people keep their names going from like through the transition, because some names are androgynous to begin with. Used to be the weird outcast whose metal music you could hear from their earbuds. So yeah, pronouns. They do have the blend of the pronouns there, plus the he him there. The tendency to wander away from large crowds, but you attribute that to them being more shy than misanthropic. Fair. Honestly, what concerns you more is the fact that no one seems bothered by Angel going off by their lonesome. I mean, by the time you're 10 years after high school, if you don't understand the fact that sometimes people just want to kind of be chill by themselves, that's more of a you problem. Because, by the time you're in your late 20s, sometimes you don't necessarily want to deal with people. And I get that. Even people you're comfortable around, like sometimes you're just not in the mood. And Liam Goodwin, aka Lucifer Satan 69420. Somebody really leaned hard into that motif. Pronouns he, him, Caucasian American. Social media influencer. Yeah, he definitely gave off those vibes. A former Christian cheerleader who preached and practiced modest is hottest. In the last 2 years, however, he's made a full 180 to all skin, all sin. He takes immense pride in the video series that turned him into a star. ASMR, I'm Your Mean Boyfriend will finally have the chance to get some revenge on Liam this weekend. Clearly the person who was the popular kid in high school that main character did not get along with. They probably really antagonized each other, especially if they're, the classic preppy cheerleader, add on the overabundance of purity culture that can come around with that upbringing and that circle and upbringing, and I could see that causing some butting heads here. But honestly, I kind of want I have a morbid curiosity of how this would play out, but I feel like this would probably be the worst pairing of the romantic comedy, and easily the one that could maybe turn the most problematic the fastest. Just off of if it turns into some kind of weird revenge affection situation, or people popping a major hate boner or something. Going like full, Team Four Stars, TN and Cell kind of levels of antagonistic. Hopefully, it doesn't go that direction, but I could see that this one might be the most contentious. Mature content description. The developers describe the content like this: certain scenarios in the game involve sexual tension between adults, including intimate situations and heavy innuendo. No visual or textual depictions of sexual content are included in the game. Okay, so there's some innuendo and referencing, but no actual explicit things going on. Okay, that is fair. Um, there you see the goose screenshot. But yeah, that's basically what we're getting here. Definitely, like I said, very tongue in cheek, light-hearted play here. I could see maybe one storyline having some problematic stuff going on, but not in the way of like being LGBTQ phobic or something like that. More of just maybe people being a little shitty to each other because of held grudges after like a decade after high school. And sometimes the things people do to each other in high school do kind of linger and carry on, and people do hold on to those grudges for years after the fact. Hopefully, if the characters do go down this route, that there is an air of understanding and forgiveness that goes on between that. Not even forgiveness and like the oh my gosh, you got to be good little Christians, and not like no hate on the Christianity, like just generally getting along with people and being able to water under the bridge kind of thing. Especially because I'm pretty sure most, if not all, of you guys out there in YouTube or whatever, wherever you're listening to this, I'm sure you were all insufferable little shits when you were teenagers. I know I was. And I feel like that's probably the air that's going on here, is that any contention or any problematic stuff going on here is going to be that story coming to a resolution after the fact. Hopefully, them coming to terms and being like, yeah, I am sorry for how we were in high school kind of thing. Hopefully that's the direction it goes. But anyway, these screenshots do tell us mostly the same thing here. I'm sure Elias will be happy to see me at the event. You see three the three photos here from high school of the characters, and you can easily tell who's who. You got the stressor, the cheerleader, and the rocker here. I mean, it's kind of easy to tell, especially the cheerleader and the African American one. They stand out just from the photo there. And then the other one, process of elimination there. But I mean, if it wasn't for the description of the obvious cheerleader and the other one, I might have even gotten the two of them mixed. But the pom poms definitely selling it there. Then we do see Elias flashing the bright $1 million smile. Been such a kind, friendly person ever since you met him back freshman year. So that's cool. You know, longtime friend. Sometimes you got that friend that you keep through your entire career going there. Whatever words you were going to say next caught in your throat as eyes roam across his features. That's like it's that Squidward, oh my god, he's hot situation going on, and you're just like, what? What what going on? And then transphobic as fuck those straights. Yeah, and this is the one, like Liam, I could see Liam being maybe the hardest one to follow. Um, although I can also see it being a product of the upbringing where they were wound up so tight from their upbringing that eventually it probably ended up like that. He was questioning his own identity until, like, you know, a little bit later into his adulthood after the fact. And then after coming to terms, it's like he basically goes full. You know how when you wind when you wind the coil really tight and then release it, and then it just goes completely haywire. I feel like that is probably Liam's story, which I have seen some people do that in various avenues and in various things with life in general, where somebody is like just wound so tight and they get a small taste of freedom and go completely off the deep end. Not even necessarily in the in an LGBTQ sense, just in life in general it happens. Heck, one friend of mine like was absolutely not allowed to even look at a video game when they were younger, and now they're one of the biggest hardcore gamers I know. So, you know, That's the kind of thing. You get that kind of like winding tight until it's too late and the coil just bursts. So we have those. Who cares? You're just jealous because I stay when. Yeah, Liam's definitely given that. I feel like Liam is just giving me a douchebag kind of vibe, and I, I don't know how much of the gameplay I can really analyze here because it is very much like visual novel depiction going on, but hopefully Liam has a story arc going on with the reunion. And then of course the goose, the honk. You know what? I'm going to just put my bets on the table here that the goose is probably it's probably the game's fade to black scenario. They did say down into the description that no actual adult situations happen on screen. I'm betting the goose is the fade to black situation there where they go and just be like, okay, yeah, we're not continuing this scene kind of thing. That like I said, it's getting a very lighthearted vibe. Liam might be a little hard to stomach, but I don't know. Now, somebody who is, in the community, in the know, or who has played this, please fill me in on if Liam is genuinely problematic to the community like that, or if Liam's depiction is like I thought, just that kind of person who was wound up way too tight and then maybe overcompensates a little and goes a little hyper aggressive with the identity situation. Because I can totally understand that, especially considering coming from the background and then somebody processing that and moving forward can be difficult for a person. And a storyline that if they can approach that storyline with a sense of delicacy and growth, that would be a cool thing to see. But again, that I don't know how it would come out. And again, they give us very little to go on as far as the character. We just see a little bit about the characters' personalities. I do like Elias's vibe, and I'm sure and name Angel. Angel seems like they'd have a very chill, laid back kind of thing, just kind of being like, go. He goes off on his own, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go follow up with them and make sure they're okay. Because when somebody goes off alone, like you don't, especially if you haven't seen them in a while, you don't know like are they okay? Is everything okay? Like, just want to make sure that if you are going off by yourself, that all's good, all's safe. Okay, we good? You just want to be by yourself for a bit? Okay, come find me when you cool. We'll chill. We'll hang out, kind of thing. Um, Overall, I would say now, like I said, being free is already bonus points on because anybody who does play this doesn't have to worry about like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I spent 5, 10, $15 on this. And apparently the dog heard me talking on the microphone. Um, so that's some points here. I'm gonna say, like, as far as me looking at this as what looks like a short, free little experience, I'm gonna say 7 out of 10. I'd recommend giving it a look if you are in the community, if you have more of an insight to how these characters are portrayed, how they portray the community and the identities shown. That by all means, let me know how that is. Happy Pride Month for everybody out there. I'm giving this, like I said, 7 out of 10. Uh, if it's something that like if people are vibing on the community side, I may go ahead and give this a look. I don't play a lot of visual novels myself, but it definitely seems like they 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 present themselves nicely. I do like the art too. The art lends itself to a very chill, laid back thing. The characters are very defined. They got their own little like bit of color to them. With our little blue, green, and hot rod red going on here with the hair, the two-tone head of hair. Liam is definitely giving major, major main character energy. Like he wants to be the main character, but then again, he's also an ASMR he's an ASMR tuber star kind of person as it is. So maybe him being full of himself also comes from that, and it's not just the wound a little too tight kind of thing and fully rebounding. Um, and if that's the case, if they lean into more of that, maybe I am wrong about Liam altogether, and he's just kind of a full of himself hothead who got a little too famous, a little too fast kind of thing, and maybe once you actually get to know him a little better, comes down to earth a bit. That said, hey, check this out. For those of you in my friends subreddit, I'm gonna go ahead and post the link for this here in their Reddit too. See if any of them can tell me how much I butchered my analysis of this, just like I butchered the pronunciation of the word butchered just now.